Today, I'm ready to get stuck in on a lot of the future projects that are happening here at Deene Park. I mean, Deene Park is vast. It's a beautiful historic house, but of course, we're always, as homeowners, trying to think of ways that we can incorporate more income to help to preserve this part of England's heritage, and that's exactly what I'll be doing today.
I'll be catching up with Mark Coombs, estate manager of the Broodnell Estates.
It's lovely long grass.
That's right.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? We've stopped putting fertiliser on here about 2 years ago.
Fantastic.
Anything like that. And you can see the butterflies, all the biodiversity and vertebrate life is really kicked in. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Mark is leading projects to deliver long-term growth and much-needed financial support for the estate.
The plan is that we're going to have this as a holiday cottage. It's the first one we will have done on the estate.
Well, this is one of the sweetest cottages I've ever seen.
Hardly any people get to see this.
Oh my God.
So what we've got here, it's an extraordinary building. I think it's one of the only of its type of its in the UK.
When I married into the British aristocracy, it was the start of a wonderfully exciting journey. But it was also a little daunting. I became a Viscountess, and for an American girl from a small town outside Chicago, that was quite a shock.
I live with my husband Luke, heir to the Earl of Sandwich, and our family at Mapperton House in Dorset.
Mapperton has opened up an extraordinary new world for me, and I can't wait to share it with you all.
So if you love castles and manors and stately homes as much as I do, please join me as I head off to visit some of Britain's most spectacular historic homes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is heaven. It's all heaven, isn't it?
Yep.
Good morning. Can I just say I slept?
I was going to ask you.
But do you think it's the horsehair mattress?
I'm just going to shut that
It's
door.
also because you're here. You're staying under somebody else's roof, so your worries also go slightly. It's very, very tranquil here.
Yeah.
Yes.
You do have the traffic, but you know.
It's the
you've
bustle
got to
of
be
life
listening to it.
outside.
Yeah.
Yes, it was beautiful, but I slept like a log.
Oh, well done.
Do you do coffee, Charlotte?
Absolutely. I don't speak until I've had a cup of coffee.
I know. Sitting in here, the stained glass is extraordinary. Was this always here?
Not at all. No, we're looking at the remnants of a ballroom that was built after the charge of the Light Brigade to commemorate the great victory, or not victory. And there is a sort of gap. There was a Regency enfilade that came through, and the ballroom went right outside and was designed by Crace. It was very high Victorian.
Right.
I think the colour of the stone was slightly
Pretty well.
yellower.
It was
You
slightly,
remember
I
it?
remember it, yes, certainly. But the colour of the stone was slightly different to the rest of the house.
So you remember it was here?
It was here. It was taken down in the 80s. I remember we had a school here in the late 60s, early 70s, and we used to play badminton in here. And later, of course, when my parents opened the house to the public, we had teas in there, and we had our 21st party in the ballroom. And
So this doorway here that I'm looking
that
at.
door there, I mean, for parties, there were 3 big rooms, a ballroom where we were last night. Then you open up the twin doors behind in the ballroom into the drawing room, and then these doors open, and then you came into the ballroom, and this was a double height room in here. There was a minstrel's gallery upstairs, up some steps, and then downstairs was like it is now. And then you walked through. When you went straight into the ballroom, I don't think there were double doors here like there are now.
Right.
But then you had the ballroom right to the far end, and the turret at the end was doubled height than it is now. My parents put it down.
The floor level was the same, and they had underground heating. They had underground
So
hot
this
water.
floor here
Went straight out.
Went straight out.
Yeah.
One of the things, of course, I love to do when I come and visit magical places like Deene Park is just to be able to get onto the estate. Because I think, especially for me, the American, when I first moved here and I would see these grand houses, these palaces, these manor homes, I just thought that was it. You've got the house and the history of the house, but then you've got the surrounding land, and there's a lot going on.
We need the land all around it because that is what supports the house. Every tile on the roof needs some funding somehow.
Right.
And we are very blessed here because we've got a whole lot of different ways of diversification, I think is the word.
Generating income, yes.
Generating income, yeah. So today you're going to hopefully go and have a look at some of the things we've got, some of the building works that we're doing, which we will be able to have commercial lets with, and then see what we're doing with the ground, with regeneration in terms of rewilding, and the bees. We're very fond of our bees, and some of Robert's cattle.
When you took over, 9 years ago, did you feel when you stepped in there was still a lot for you to do? I mean, what was your biggest concern 9 years ago?
My personal one was being absolutely scared rigid. I'll quite honestly say that I didn't like Deene. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know how it ran. There was this sort of feeling that it's got to carry on as it was, and financially we couldn't do that. I felt really the newbie, and I was treading on eggshells everywhere. It was a very horrible, horrible time. But you learn, and everybody's very helpful. And of course, my love for Deene is unquantifiable now. We have had a lot to do here at Deene in the last 9 years. We had to re-roof most of the house. We had to put in central heating.
Re-roof, yes, but we did, I think, a half of the house. And a point I always loved saying when we do that, the scaffolding took 6 weeks to put up.
The scaffolding put 6 weeks?
We couldn't get a lorry close enough, so I had to walk it through. And also roses at the front, with flowers at the front. Roses do not like iron, do not like scaffolding, and therefore we had to be very careful that if we damage those roses, it would knock the regeneration of those roses out for a good 10, 15 years.
Yeah, a good 10 years, yeah.
The scaffolding went twice the height of this house. Can I rewind slightly on it? Because most people put a roof on first and then they deal with the central heating.
Right.
We did actually the other way round. We had a lovely, lovely expert who came to look at our books, our wonderful library books, and sure enough there was white mould on them. So we had to get specialists in to come and unmould the books, particularly in the Borum Library. And at the end of it they said, that's perfect, but you do realise that after another cold winter the mould will be back and you'll see us again next year. So we then realised we had to sort out the heating, and we've put in a mammoth wood chip boiler, a mammoth one, which is incredibly noisy, and I love it in January, but not in June.
Yes.
And so we put in the central heating in first, and then we moved onto the roof.
And then you moved onto the roof. But those are two big projects because, at Mapperton, luckily my in-laws had done the roof, and I don't think that, I know I didn't realize this until I had moved into a historic house. You don't have a house without the roof, and your biggest expense is the roof. And that was your huge one of two huge projects, because then heating Deene Park and getting that biomass boiler in would have been an enormous expense.
It was.
And it was, yes. We are caretakers of the house, so everything that is done on the estate within the house is all for the good of the house. It's so that we can hand it over to the next generations, so that history continues.
So that history continues, that's exactly right. Well, I'm excited to get stuck in today and to see more of the estate, but gosh, I really did sleep. I texted my husband first thing this morning. I was like, I think we need to get a few more horsehair mattresses at Mapperton because I slept so
I don't know if
well.
can you still get them? I don't know if you can.
Oh, there's still horses around, so you must be able to.
Must be able to, sure.
After a glorious breakfast, I'm heading out with Mark Coombs, the estate manager of the Broodnell Estates, who is masterminding plans for the future here at Deene Park.
So Mark, we're heading off on the estate, but I have just noticed, obviously, big wedding happening here.
Yep.
There's so much going on.
We have to diversify the business in order to generate enough cash to really keep the estate going.
Yes.
Put lead on the roof, as we say.
Yes.
And to be able to reinvest back into the estate. So one of our diversifications is weddings.
Right.
We've actually got 3 sites that we do weddings. Estates are far more than simply agriculture and forestry.
Yeah.
you have land,
Yes.
and that is an asset. And that asset has to be used wisely, both for, I guess, the continuing running of these estates, but as importantly, there's also a responsibility in terms of good quality stewardship and management for the wider community
Yes.
and other stakeholders.
Lovely long grass.
That's right.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It's so beautiful.
So this is all part of a Parkland restoration scheme.
Okay.
So we've stopped putting fertiliser on here about 2 years ago.
Fantastic.
Anything like that. And you can see that, well, the butterflies, all the biodiversity and vertebrate life is really kicked in. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, we're really, so this will get bailed off at some point in August.
Right,
And then we'll
right.
actually have a music festival on here.
Oh,
So
you
we
are?
can- So you can do both.
Yeah, you
can
can
kind
do
of zone
both.
it. Exactly
Right.
right. Yeah.
It's brilliant. Okay, so where am I standing? Because
Right.
I thought when we were driving, is
Yes.
that the house there?
So the house is just there, just through the trees, and you see St Peter's Church there in the
Yes.
village of Deene, just here. So where we are now is really in the sort of the core of the estate. So this is a 500-acre parkland.
Okay,
It's all part of the Brudenell Estates, of which there are 10,000 acres.
yes.
And there's 3,500 acres here, and a further 6,500 acres just in the Welland Valley in
Okay.
Leicestershire.
Okay,
So yeah, so this is all part, as you can see, this is all part of our parkland. We've converted 200 acres of former arable land back into parkland.
oh, you have?
Yep.
Okay.
And we'll plant probably a couple of hundred parkland trees as well over a period of time.
Right. We're now in this period where it's trying to find that balance between food production,
Yep.
of course,
Yep.
and of course rewilding,
Correct.
and
Yep.
what are you using your land for, and making it work for everybody, and that's tough.
Yeah, it's quite a balance.
It's a balance.
I mean, you're never going to be absolutely popular with everyone.
No.
But I mean, it's a fool who tries
That's
to do that. I think what we do is we have a 10-year plan.
So true.
Yeah, we have a 10-year plan, and that's a fairly broad plan, if you like.
Right.
We know where we want to be, and then that's more detailed within a 3-year window. So we're quite clear where we are with our sort of development targets, where we are with our internal
Right,
businesses, where we want to be with our stewardship, etc. It's lovely to go out onto the estate and start seeing,
Yeah.
this. It
It is.
It's
I mean,
absolutely lovely.
It is really lovely, and you do start to notice all of a sudden more butterflies or
Yeah,
moths
yeah.
or the invertebrate coming back. Okay.
And I'd like
yeah.
to introduce you to some
Sure.
of our cattle. We've got some native breeds
Okay.
who help us manage all of this.
Okay,
and
great.
they're lovely, placid, beautifully
Okay,
calm
good.
beef shorthorns.
Yeah. So
You'll be fine.
many people know that I have a fear of
Yeah.
cows.
That's fine.
So-
you
so-
couldn't meet a nicer bunch of girls.
Okay.
They're absolutely lovely.
You heard it here first. On behalf of myself and the entire American Viscountess team, we wanted to say a huge thank you to our American Viscountess patrons. Because of their support, we're able to create these high quality productions filmed here at these incredible historic houses. So do consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/American Viscountess. And here you'll get early access to all of the episodes, a lot of behind the scenes content, live Q&As, American Viscountess goodies, so tote bags, key rings.
Once it's to this stage, it's ready to make the finished batch.
And patrons will have exclusive access to extra scenes filmed at the historic houses we visit. Here at Deene Park, I met up with Simon Beale, who fells the willow trees here to produce cricket bats.
And the bat is then finished off. It's then sanded and then buffed.
As I look at the willow trees there, how many bats can you make from one willow tree?
We average throughout a batch around about 38.
38.
Yeah.
Okay, the QR code is right over there, patreon.com/American Viscountess. If you love historic houses as much as we do, please do become a patron.
Before I face my fears with the herd, we stop off to see some of the building projects Mark is overseeing.
Well, this is one of the sweetest cottages I've ever seen.
It's beautiful,
I mean,
isn't
it's
it?
beautiful.
So this was
So-
the old kennelman's cottage.
Okay.
So years ago they would have had their own hounds here.
Right.
And so this was built for that individual.
Right.
And behind us, over there, is that would have been where the kennel boy would have lived.
Oh my
And the
goodness.
plan here, Julie, is to, well, you can see we're restoring this. So we've
Yes.
replaced the Collie Western roof.
beautiful.
We're turning it into a 3-bed cottage. The plan is that we're going to have this as a holiday cottage. It's the first one we will have done on the estate. But it will
Right.
support our wedding and events
Yes,
business.
yes.
And so we've got a new venue for our woodland weddings nearby. But we actually discovered that we had bats up in the roofs there.
Right.
So we've stopped.
Yes, you have to stop.
Consulted Natural England.
Yes.
We put in mitigating bat boxes around the place.
Right.
And we're just about to start. So the windows, we're making new windows which are ready now for fitting.
Okay.
And as soon as the windows are done and the gutters, we can drop the scaffolding, move into the building and start renovating
and start
inside.
renovating
But it's
inside.
got- yeah.
Fantastic.
So
So
we're-
3-bedroom here.
3-bedroom here.
And then what are you going to do with this?
So that's going to be a single bedroom.
Oh, wow.
And so the idea there is that if you have a small wedding party,
Yes.
bride and groom can stay in it's called the doghouse. So
Oh
we're
my
calling it the
goodness.
doghouse. I don't know if that's good or bad, but
No, I'm
we'll
sure
call
it's for the bride and groom. They'll find they'll
they'll
take
like
it.
that. But
So
that's the plan there. So again, we're doing a little timber extension at the back there.
And obviously, I know that you do. I've seen the marquee
Yes.
that's been set up that has that backdrop of the house. Traditionally, that's what people wanted. That's what we do at Mapperton. But you're telling me that there's now another place
Yeah.
that people can have their weddings,
Yes.
which is more in the woodlands.
Correct.
Because that's becoming
Correct.
very popular. People
Correct.
want to be in nature.
So we can give them a little bit more choice. This is our woodland clearing for our woodland weddings. We've done nothing here other than mow it, but through the trees, we have added some wildflowers, etc. So the whole idea is that we've got a really light footprint in what we're doing here.
Yes.
The intention is that the marquee goes up for that specific event, but it's a super light sort of touch, and also from an estate point of view, we've not spent lots and lots of money on this.
Exactly.
You know,
So your
nature's kind of
ROI.
done it all for us. Yeah. But the meadow's absolutely beautiful. We've
Should
cut
we
some
go have
paths
a-
through there if you want to have a
Yeah,
a quick
definitely.
look. But it's
How-
lovely. So we only put the wildflower mix in the autumn last year.
Okay.
But what we'll do here, Julie, is we'll cut this off.
Right.
Once it's all seeded, we'll cut it and bale it and remove it and keep taking the energy out of the grass.
Okay.
And you'll find the wildflower mixes get stronger and stronger,
Stronger,
and stronger. Yeah. So if you come up here in the evenings, it's absolutely full of moths and what have you.
Oh.
It's lovely. In fact, I come up in the evenings
So
and it's not
lovely.
unusual to see a deer or two here
Yeah.
or the hare or that sort of thing. But you can see the paths they're sort of rudimentary a little bit at the moment, but you get the idea of what we're trying to do.
Brilliant.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is beautiful, and then again, you just see butterflies all around.
Well, absolutely. So you've got the creeping thistles in
Yes.
here. You've got parsley, oxeye daisies.
Yes.
There's a few poppies. There's a thing called kidney vetch down there. Absolutely brilliant for the bees. You can see the
yeah.
bees, buzzing around.
Well, I can
so,
hear
so
them.
this is interesting, isn't it? You might be able to give me a view on this slightly. So our gardens say, should we be pulling these out, these thistles?
No.
No. Well, there's the answer.
I mean,
No, I
look
think
at
we're-
the, look at the, if
They're
you
absolutely
look at
full,
the
aren't
thistles,
they? And it's quite pretty, isn't it?
It's
Looking
so
through
pretty.
it.
You don't pull out the thistles because
Yeah.
look at the wildlife that's look at the invertebra.
Yeah.
That every
all-
bee
all-
I've seen so far is
It's been
going.
on. Look, there they are.
is-
They're absolutely full of it.
They're full of it, and
So-
then they pollinate and go on
And
and
they'll
on
go
and
on.
on. This
But
is what you want to see. Look at them.
This is year one, so
Right, this
within 2 or 3 years we'll have
good.
this.
Well, I
looking
can't wait to come
mint.
back.
Yeah,
This is and maybe visit a wedding here. I mean, I'm going to be visiting the big wedding that's happening with the house as the backdrop.
Oh, right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll be exploring that a little bit.
Join me in a future episode here at Deene Park when I find out more about the weddings held alongside the lake.
Oh my goodness! I mean, this is a sensational,
Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful colours in here as well.
beautiful color. I mean, this is sensational. Everywhere I go, Mark, everybody wants to introduce me to their cattle.
I
because
know.
It's somehow
It's cruel, isn't it?
It's gotten around that I have a fear of cows.
Okay. Well, these are probably the nicest bunch of cows you're going to meet. These are our little herd of traditional beef short-horn cattle.
Right.
Okay, so they're a native breed.
Yes.
And the reason we have them here is because it's part of our agri-environmental scheme. So we wanted to reintroduce these grazers back into the estate.
Ah.
And so we have a little herd of 20. We've had them for a couple of years.
Okay.
And we've got a lovely bull called Poseidon, who's not here.
Oh,
He was due to come in today, and we thought that might just be too exciting for everyone.
Right.
So he's in tomorrow.
Okay.
But as you can see, they come in lots of sort of different colours and what have you.
Beautiful.
Aren't they beautiful?
Yeah, they're really beautiful.
They really are. So this is part of our Parkland restoration. We've introduced a new avenue here. As you can see, some lime trees.
Yes.
Cleared some trees at the other end. So you get a vista all the way up through there.
Yeah, beautiful.
As you come in into the estate. So this
Yes.
is part of the 500-acre restoration programme. What you've got in front of you, this lovely cow, that is the classic beef short-horn cow.
Yes.
And you can see, isn't she lovely and friendly?
She is lovely and friendly. I mean, they are all looking at me though, so
Yeah.
I'm a bit like...
Yeah, no. But they're good calves, and there's some
Yes.
lovely calves in here. Should we go and have a look at some forestry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, I'm super pleased with that cow interaction there.
Good. All
feel
done
calm.
perfectly safely, all part of the process.
I feel very calm.
So I wanted to introduce you to Graham, who manages all of the estate woodlands.
Hi, Graham. I'm Julie.
Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So you manage your forestry.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
On the estate, there's just under 600 acres of woodland.
Okay.
Half of it is ancient and half of it is more recent.
Okay.
And so I sort of manage the woods, I suppose in some ways like a farmer would manage the farms. And Mark and the family have commissioned a Parkland restoration plan, and that really sort of is premised on the basis of trying to reinstate the scale of the park, so that you can look over long vistas and long views and get a feel for the majesty and sort of grandeur of the whole entity.
Yes,
So-
which it would have been.
Yeah, that's right. It would have been a power
exactly.
statement, I guess, at some stage. But
Exactly.
so where we stood now, this was woodland.
So this was, right.
Yeah, and so you couldn't see through here, but the idea was that as you come through the gatehouse and approach the estate, you've got views off to the north over the entire park.
Right.
We're still wrestling with that clump of alder down there at the lakeside because it spoils the view this way, but then it shields the park from the road when you view it back the other way.
So if I'm looking down here right now,
Yeah.
Where is the house? Directly?
So is that a marquee we can see through the park there, just to the right-hand side of the wood? There's some white in the distance.
yes.
So
Okay,
the house is beyond that. So the view here is really more about the setting of the house than the house itself. You've got the lake and then the woods beyond.
One of our amazing sponsors of American Viscountess is Le Chameau. And mostly you probably will see me in my Le Chameau wellies because it rains a lot here in England. But today here, I'm walking in my Le Chameau Chelsea boots. And I have to say, I wear these Chelsea boots everywhere I go. When I'm not wearing my wellies and when it's not raining, I'm actually wearing my Le Chameau Chelsea boots and I love them so much. I've had a pair of Chelsea boots now for I think 7 years. They last and last and last, and they look good too. All right, Mark, I love a good kit, so thank you for the hard hat and the high vis.
We've got a range of disused agricultural buildings here.
Right.
They're listed, so there are complications with that.
Yes,
But
yes they are.
They're totally underutilised.
Yep.
But what we're doing is converting these to form little business units. The plan originally was to do very small little workshops, but we're actually going to go for offices.
For offices?
Yep. So we've got planning, so we're stripping the roofs off and we'll start re-roofing it, etc. But there's a lot of stone work to do. But this one here was totally gone.
Right.
So we've stripped that off and it's been battened, and then we'll put the Collie Western slate back on there.
Back on there.
So they're scheduled to come at the beginning of the month.
Brilliant.
To do that. So you can see it's a classic sort of courtyard, but we're going to create roughly 19 little business units out of it.
Okay.
And what we're proposing to do is heat them through geothermal rods.
Yes.
So 10 rods at 150 metres, so 1.5 kilometres if you like.
Right.
And a little plant room, and that will distribute heat and hot water for all of the business units. So hopefully we can ride the peaks and troughs of energy costs and so on and so forth.
And I'm just going to ask, with this roof up here, so you're having to literally rebuild.
The joiners will come and start replacing the timbers that need to be replaced.
Okay.
And our guys just pointing up the walls, etc., in advance of the rest of it.
Now you know me. I never miss an opportunity to get involved. And I'm joining Ned Cole and Adam McCrone up on the scaffold.
So here, where, because the building's that old, where the wall plates moved and pushed the stonework, it's all come loose.
Yeah.
So basically what we've got to do up here on both sides is replace the loose stones.
Okay,
So,
wow.
me and Adam-
And then repoint.
Yes, and then repoint.
Right.
So me and Adam, we did half of last week and this week with help from Brandon doing this side,
Right.
which is all pointed up and ready for the roofer to replace the roof.
Oh, right. So this side's ready.
This side's ready.
And then
I'll
what
just
about
do
on the
this
other
side.
side?
On the other side, there's plenty of work to do. That
So you
side.
still, right. Okay, should we have a little look at that?
Yep.
Okay, wow. This is your next big project.
This is the project now, this side. So yeah, so basically what I'll get Adam to do now is where here, instead of it being lime mortar, it's cement.
Oh my
so
gosh.
what we've got to do is we've got to try and get it out and then repoint it with lime cement,
Right,
which we've
right.
been using.
All this is cement.
Yes.
You're not supposed to use cement because then it doesn't work well with the environment. It's not breathable. So all the moisture gets caught in,
Yes.
right?
Trapped. Yeah.
Trapped in.
Yes.
All right, so what are you and I going to do while Adam has this super fun job? He's super excited
While
about.
Adam's doing that, what we'll do, as you can see, already prepared, this is where all the loose stone was.
Okay.
So what we've done is we took it off, and then all we're doing is, as you can see, we've put it, so this is your top course and that's to go on next.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll just lay these stones onto the wall.
Without
With
with
the lime cement.
the lime cement.
Yes.
Okay.
So then basically what we're doing is just rebuilding it back up to this height.
Okay.
So when the roofers come, it's not loose.
It's not loose.
It's
Okay.
all solid again.
Okay. Do you want to start this process?
Yep. So
Because I have zero
So what
clue.
we've got to do, because obviously when we cleaned them, there's still some cement left on.
My gosh.
So just chip that off. If you've got rubbish and dirt still there, your cement's not going to stick.
It's not going to stick.
So what you've got
Okay.
to do from there,
Oh my goodness.
again, different brick layers and stone layers, they have their own way of putting joints on. Some put it on the one they've got in
Yep.
their hand, and some put it on there. And then basically what you've got to do is fight your way back in.
I mean, that's looking sort of right. Yeah.
So again, when you've done that,
Okay, so I'm going to try to do one. So I take this and I'm going to plunk it on,
Yep.
correct?
spread it about, fill all
I
all
need
your
that little
places in.
And go far back. Ned, how
Yep.
far back should I
Yep.
go? More.
Yep,
And back.
yep.
What do we think? More?
No, that's fine.
You sure?
That's fine, that's good.
Okay.
And then what you've got to do there is, so your stone to stick, you need a joint either on this stone or that stone.
Oh, right. Okay.
So what I would do, I would put it on there, so then you can control the stone with your hand. Beautiful.
Okay. Okay. How's
Yep.
that?
That's fine.
Okay. Now.
So now what you've got to do is pick your stone up without any dirt on it.
Yeah.
Keep a 10mm gap-ish there, and then tap it when you're sort of levelish.
Yeah.
You're there.
I'm there. I did it.
Yeah.
I did one.
And then you go on to your next one.
Then you go into the next one. And then you
just carry on.
And then you just carry it, and you've got all to do
So,
all
yeah,
down there.
so-
there's lots to do.
Lots to do.
Gosh, I'm gonna have to come back here and visit this.
Oh, yes.
That is for sure. I'm due for a cup of tea. Are you due for a cup
I'm
of tea?
due for a cup of tea
Yeah.
and my food.
Okay, let's go get a cup of tea and some food. Did you know that you can also listen to these American Viscountess episodes? That's right, we have a brand new podcast and it's called American Viscountess. You can find it on all streaming podcast platforms, and you can listen to it on the go, in the car, when you're walking, at the gym, wherever you go, you can take American Viscountess along with you.
So you're really seeing behind the scenes here, really. This is not many people, hardly any people get to see this.
Oh my gosh.
So what we've got here, it's an extraordinary building. I think it's one of the only of its type of its in the UK. So it's it's brick built, listed riding school. Okay, so it's mid 19th century, 1840 or
right.
so. It was built by the Earl of Cardigan to train his horses.
Oh my goodness.
So can you imagine training your horses undercover here? And
oh my
the
goodness.
walls, if you look at the bottom of the walls, can you see that they slope away slightly?
Yes, I do, yes.
That's so the horse, as it's going around in its peripheral vision, can see that and just keeps you and the rider, it keeps the rider off the wall, doesn't it? So you can go around here at quite high speed. And
so
of course
it was very cleverly built. Obviously.
Very cleverly built. Yeah.
Yes.
And as you can see, it's in need of restoration. Some of the timbers have rotten and we've got acro props keeping it up. We got a little grant from the Historic Houses Foundation.
Oh, did you? Well done.
To do it, yep. So the idea is that we will strip all these roofs, reset all the timber, rebuild the walls where they're bowing out.
Yes.
And then we're going to reuse this. So the idea, what our kind of vision is here, is to have markets in here, at least monthly. So maybe a Christmas market, a flower fair, an antique fair.
Oh my gosh!
So we could run electric around the outside. It'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
oh my goodness!
Have a good explore. It's a lovely set of buildings.
This is definitely. I will definitely.
It's unusual, isn't it?
It's really unusual, and it's beautiful. It is actually really beautiful.
Good.
I've just had a brilliant day out. I've learned so much about really the detail it takes to run an estate like Deene Park. And it always brings me back that, of course, these estates have these wonderful, magical, historical homes that visitors want to come and see, but it's a running estate. There's old farm buildings that need to be repurposed, yet they're listed, so you have to do them the right way. This is a perfect example right here of an old sort of training riding school, if you like, and it is listed. So it needs to be repaired in the right way. And yes, there are grants available, but the grants only go so far. And you have to work out how you can commercially use these spaces in order to generate income that goes back into the estates.
Next time, I'll be joining Charlotte to explore more of Deene Park.
This is the main best bit showing off of Deene Park Gardens.